Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Discover Your Potential segment, brought to you by Smart Pet Talk. Today, we're joined by our regular contributor, podcaster, and co-host, Dan Gilman. And today, he is joined by Sir Alec Stern, an iconic figure in the entrepreneurial world. With his pioneering spirit, he's best known as a founding team member of the renowned company Constant Contact, which he has been with for over 18 years, from startup to IPO to a $1.1 billion acquisition. Regarded as America's startup success expert, he's been a co-founder or founding team member of 8 startups with 5 incredible exits, 2 IPOs, and 3 acquisitions. His insights have guided countless startups from the ground up, helping to shape the landscape of modern entrepreneurship. They join me today to chat all about driving innovation, growing businesses, and seeking success. Welcoming now to the show is Dan Gilman and Sir Alec Stern. Welcome, superstars.
Welcome, Zen.
Welcome. Thank you.
So excited to have you on. Okay, let's dive right in. Sir Alec, yes, you heard that right. Sir Alec, because I know you recently received the distinct honor being knighted and ennobled as a Baron of Boston of Cappadocia by the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen of the Royal and Sovereign House of Cappadocia and St. Bartholomew, for your exceptional accomplishments in entrepreneurship. I can't believe I actually did that right without fumbling any of that, specifically in entrepreneurship's innovation and philanthropy. So I think it goes without saying that you are quite the expert, but I'm curious to know, throughout your illustrious career, what has been one of the most unconventional pieces of advice that you followed, and how did it pay off?
Yeah. So I think that the biggest thing for me is the management and handling of obstacles. I was always that person that would take a piece of paper and put a little box and then write on the line, the obstacle, and hope I checked the box by the end of the day. But it never went away, and over time, it just felt like the font got bigger and bigger and bigger, and that obstacle weighed on me more. But I actually learned that I'm not the first one to sort of struggle with that obstacle. I won't be the last. Those that have succeeded at knocking it down, there are some that have failed. So just to really seek counsel, go find others and talk through that, and maybe break it up into smaller pieces so you can have some wins in knocking down the obstacle. And it's kind of creating a muscle memory, because behind that obstacle is a bigger one. And then behind that next one is a bigger one. And you have to figure out how to do that. And oftentimes when people drop out of the startup game or want to sort of quit, it's because it's an obstacle or something that weighs on them. And for me, that was something I learned, and I appreciated the advice I got on how to handle that.
Well, all that advice and hard work certainly did pay off. I also admire how you continue to pay it forward. I know that after you settled in Boston, you became very involved in the city's nonprofit ecosystem, and you've done everything from co-chairing galas and fundraising to co-founding 2 nonprofits of your own, raising millions of dollars in the process. So it should really come as no surprise that you were presented with the Be Great's Exemplary Humanitarian Award in 2022. You are truly doing it all. Now, I know Dan has a few questions as well, so I'm going to hand it off to you, my dear.
Can you tell us about a time when you had to pivot dramatically in your career or business strategy? And also, what drove that change and what was the outcome?
Yeah. So pivoting is a natural. It's just a natural thing in the process of in a startup. You set out to do something, and if you were kind of thinking about the analogy of a lane of a highway, you have your idea and you're on that lane, and then sometimes you find that the opportunity exists in the lane adjacent on either side of that, or sometimes you're on the wrong highway. You got to get on another highway and find another lane. And so I have a lot of experience in doing that. And I think the learnings for me is just really getting out and asking your target market. I get asked every single day, many times, what do you think of our idea? What do you think of my idea? And my answer is, it doesn't matter what I think. What does your target market think? And I think we sort of forget, even though we might have been that target market at one point, like I was a small business, so I know what they need. Things change, up to the minute. And so for just getting out and then going and seeking, sort of the advice and hearing and learn from that target market for me, that was the thing that got me realizing that, okay, maybe we've got to shift lanes, and maybe we got to switch, everything from messaging to what we're saying and to even what we're offering. And so there's always pivots and things happening in any business, and they will continue to happen. And that's change, and change leads to opportunity, providing you're going in the lane, in the direction of what your target market wants.
Yeah, I love that. I love the analogy of the highway. That really resonated
Mm.
with me. Now, I know innovation is key in any business. In fact, according to a McKinsey survey, 84% of executives believe innovation is the key to growth, and companies that promote innovation are 3.5 more times likely to outperform their competitors statistically. Now, can you share an instance where a simple idea turned into a major game changer for one of your startups?
Yeah, I mean, the bigger one that most people know is Constant Contact. You know, there was a lot of innovation that happened, and we were really set out initially to, how do we level the playing field for small businesses on Main Street with those big competitors? At the time, Amazon and others had enterprise level tools, which cost a lot of money. They had staff, they had consultants, they had agencies, they had everyone sort of helping them in that process. But the average small business, didn't have any of that. And so, what could we do to create a self-service, easy-to-use tool? And initially, email marketing being the sort of the first offering in digital marketing, which is what we would call it today. And then to just give them something. All they had to worry about was what they were going to say, when they were going to say it, and who they were going to say it to. And then all the other stuff under the covers was taken care of. They didn't have to know technology or anything. They would just create the message, and we would create that beautiful looking campaign for them that would look just as good as you would find from those bigger competitors, the big box competitors. So innovation just from the get go, and we were one of the first software as a service ever. Like, everyone talks about SaaS and cloud and rented software and so on, but we were one of the first ones that ever to launch. So there was a lot of innovation, and things like that helped pave the way for us to be able to scale effectively, and also have paved the way for so many companies today to be able to create easily create something and get it out and get it into market, and be able to give it to customers without the requirement to install anything, or it's sort of up in the cloud and easy to access.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, building a strong team is crucial, as we know. What qualities do you look for in people when you're forming a new team, and why?
Yeah, so I literally was just having a conversation before this interview about this exact topic. For me personally, the bigger things is, you got to leave your egos at the door, right? So there's no room for that. Be title agnostic. So it doesn't matter, someone's like, well, I want the chief of, product, or the chief of revenue, or titles don't matter. Like, we're all got to be wearing a lot of hats and doing a lot of things. And then some would say, well, I really want to report to you. It's like, well, I might not be in this position or be here. I might move on or move up or aside or whatever. It's whatever's best for the business. So someone will come in above you, next to you, or below you, and you got to be open to accepting this. And there's a lot of people that really are really worried, caught up and worried about the title. If I could have the perfect title, it would be EIEIO. And and if that could fit on a business card, I'll go ahead and get
Mhm.
that printed. But it doesn't matter, because you're staying in your lane, and you're going to do what you're good at, and you're going to bring other people that are going to stay in their lane and do what they're good at. And you don't need a lot of people doing, that are coming in with the same skill set. You see some companies, the beginning three founders have the same skill set, but you have to establish, like, who's going to be outward facing and talking to customers and investors, CEO, who's going to be internal and kind of overseeing the running of the business, the COO, who's going to be developing the products and services, the CTO. Those are sort of roughly what those titles could look like, but it doesn't matter. It's really just what's your skill set, and you stay in the lane, and you have a better opportunity to succeed by doing what you're good at, than trying to do a bunch of other things, taking a land grab and grabbing stuff that others could do better. And
I
so those
couldn't
are the
agree
key things.
more.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. And I love how you place such an emphasis on building a strong team because it really does have the ability to make or break a company. And according to Zippia research, about 75% of employees rate teamwork and collaboration as big, essential to overall success. And to go even further, a study by Fierce Inc. found that 86% of employees cited ineffective communication or a lack of collaboration as the main source of workplace failures. So you're absolutely right to be seeking out these qualities to form the best team possible. Now, you also clearly have a knack for seeing potential in the early stages of a business. But what are some red flags you watch out for when mentoring or investing in new ventures?
Yeah, so I think one of the big things is passion, right? You need to be passionate about your idea. But if we had a passion meter, if you're pinning the needle all the way over to the a little bit too passionate, sometimes you get in your own way and you'll go down with the ship like just it, kind of this conviction that I know what the idea and I know what it needs and I'm going to make it happen. And so you got to be open to feedback. You got to be open to listening to others. You've got to again talk to and listen to your target market, and really hear what they're saying. And I've seen some that they know the answer, and we don't. Even though we might have been that target market for many years, as I said, it changes daily. And so I think that the kind of a red flag is sometimes if they're a little too like I want someone who's excited about the idea, but I also want someone who's going to be able to like no matter what happens, if the problem hits, they don't want to quit and go home. They're going to work all night and get the team to rally around solving a problem and then be like, hey, we solved it, over the weekend, or we solved it, last night, and that they're just so believe in the idea so much that they'll do anything to make sure it's successful, and oftentimes that folks that have that passion and conviction, are the ones you'd want to fund any day versus
Mm.
someone who's when the going gets rough, they quit.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what is the biggest risk you've taken in your career, and how did that shape your approach to business and leadership?
I am. It's funny. It's funny. I am a risk taker, and unfortunately, I take too many risks on too many things. Like an international flight and arriving at the airport 20 minutes before. You don't want to do things like that. But I've had agents say to me, "Are you a risk taker?" I'm like, every day. But as far as it, within business, you got to take a chance. And I think in my own statistics, 85% of the time, a product or idea or a service that someone's going to bring to market is just executing on something that already exists but could be done better. And there's a lot of industries that are asleep at the wheel
Mm.
that that you could execute and do better. And then there, of course, the 15% is creating something that didn't exist before. And we see so many examples of that: Airbnb and Uber and Google and Facebook and all these things that have sort of come along the way. Constant Contact was an example of one as well. And so just again, taking that risk is to you know can you call yourself an innovator? And we're all entrepreneurs if we have an idea, but we're an innovator if we take action. And so that's just running it by others, noodle on it, get other people to support what you're doing, find that target market, get their feedback, and then run with it. And so I've taken a lot of risks, but believing, you hear a lot of no's over time, and I ignore those because a no means not now in my world. You can always cultivate those and turn them into yeses later and get feedback and so on. But just
Mm.
get out, take that idea, take that risk, and if your target market says it's something they want and they're willing to pay for it, you're onto something.
Nice.
We are almost out of time. We have two questions left. So, shifting back to the topic of innovation and looking at the technological advancements today, whether it's artificial intelligence or cybersecurity, e commerce, the metaverse, I mean, the list goes on and on. But which industries do you believe are going to hold the most promise for young entrepreneurs to explore?
Yeah, so it's a question of whether it's something that they want to build a business around, or it's something that they want to use that innovation to help advance their business, right? And I think there's sort of both sides of the coin that where this exists. I've been very active in AI. I've been very active in the metaverse, and been very active as new things are coming out to really learn about them and see where the opportunities lie. And I think uh, there's so many, I guess, efficiencies and things that can come into play with a lot of the new technologies, and some are not new; they're just advancements from the way they were before, like AI. And it's been around for a long time, but now it's just advanced in so many ways. And to take advantage of using that, um, not to displace or change, the creative nature of marketing messaging and all these things. So drop it into AI and let them give you the answer, but to truly use it in some of the efficiency areas like customer support or folks on the phone, fielding questions from customers, FAQs, et cetera. There's a lot of areas where that can help, and I believe that also means there's a lot of opportunity. So I'm really blown away with what's out there and what's to come. With the advent of some of these areas now, like AI, and of course, spending time in the metaverse and so on.
I know we're almost out of time, but for our listeners who dream of starting their own business, could you share one piece of practical advice to help them on their journey?
Yeah. So, I said about feedback's a gift, so that's just important to do that at every level, especially as you're getting going. Seek counsel from mentors and others that have been in your industry or circling kind of something that you're thinking of doing. You get a lot of great advice and from others that have been there and done it before, and of course, from that target market. And I think the big one that I said, no means not now. That's the biggest thing for me. I would hear a no and I would ask for feedback why they said no. And oftentimes you get a no because it's what you said, how you said it, and when you said it. They weren't ready to receive it, or you didn't say it as well as you should. The elevator pitch, of explaining your business. Some people will assume that the elevator rides 20, 30 floors. It's not, it's one or two. Can you
Mm.
succinctly say what you're doing in a very short amount of time? But the key thing is starting with listening. And you got to be silent and listening. You take the word listen and you move the letters around, it spells silent. So to be silent and intently listening to whoever you're talking to get the cues of what they want to hear, and then play back to them, what your idea is and how it might benefit them.
Love that.
That is incredible information, very transparent, very, very well put together. I love your analogies. I love your metaphors. You are not just a great speaker and a great entrepreneur, but you are cut out for exactly the work you do. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your insights with us. It was truly invaluable.
Thank you so much.
That was the Discover Your Potential segment brought to you by Smart Pet Talk. And that was the incredible Sir Alec Stern, entrepreneur, startup mentor, keynote speaker, and investor. Definitely be sure to check him out online at alecspeaks.com. It's Alec with a C, not an X. And on the gram at Alec Speaks to stay up to date with his latest ventures. And of course, you can see more of Dan by heading to discoveryourpotentialshow.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.